Hi, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name's Jon Zaghloul. Great to have you here on Channel 59.3 B-Pod TV and Roku. Big news today. The Cubs are sliding. What's the problem? We'll talk about it in just a second. Before we get started, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. You to watch more of this show, search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com. You to watch more shows from the B-Pod TV network. Search up BPOD TV on YouTube. I want to start today with this. Would you rather have a brand new car that never breaks down or one that you continuously have to repair? Obviously, you want the brand new car. Simpler, easier, and in the long run, it won't even cost as much. I'd rather just pay out for a brand new car than fix the transmission, fix the engine, have to keep fixing things that go bad on my old car. Pretty simple thinking. Any rational person would probably make that choice. The Cubs are the old car. I'll admit I had high hopes for them before the season began. A lot of veterans, lots of big names who had 1 or 2 good years back in 2015, 2016. But I thought, you know what? Maybe there's an opportunity in which they could all work together. Everybody could have another career-type year. And they could lift this team past their pretty low expectations. I really thought it was possible. Turns out, boy, I was dead wrong. This Cubs team is the broken down old car, and every time something goes wrong, they make a small repair to fix it. Oh, hey, no more shortstop. We'll sign Andrelton Simmons to a 1-year deal, and he'll never play. Jonathan VR. All these veterans who were good 5 or 6 years ago are expected to be great now. When you depend on Frank Schwindel, a 30-year-old sophomore, Patrick Wisdom, 30-year-old sophomore, we got a problem. Marcus Stroman being signed to a big deal, 5 ERA. Kyle Hendricks, Mr. Consistency, 5.6 ERA. One of the worst qualifying ERAs in baseball. And this bullpen has also been atrocious. I know the Cubs are rebuilding, and I've actually given them credit for pulling the plug and making the right decision. But see, there's a problem we have. We talk about this all the time when it comes to the Bears. Transparency, honesty. The Cubs have not been honest. I don't mind a rebuild, but you know what? Come out and say it. Come out and say, we are rebuilding. We're tearing everything down. This is going to be 2010, 2012, 2014. Joe Mather, Cubs baseball. That's what this is. Get a bunch of veterans who've not been good for 5 or 6 years. You bring them in and just string together some random team and throw them out there to the Wolves and see how they perform. That's not retooling, rebuilding on the fly. It's called a joke. It's called a AAA baseball team. A lot of these players who they have now, even the veterans, would be on a AAA team in a winning organization right now. Half these guys would be in the Yankees AAA farm system. Even the veterans. They'd get minor league deals and they'd stay in AAA. There is no reason why some of these players are even getting regular major league at-bats. Even our best friend, Seiya Suzuki, who won Rookie of the Month, is slumping immensely. We all knew this would happen. At first, he's brand new from Japan. Nobody knows him. There's no scouting on him. The minute you get scouting on Suzuki, now he's hitting 250. Oh yeah, the Cubs signed him to a long-term deal. So how's that working out? I wouldn't be opposed to demoting him. Other players need to be demoted too. Frank Schwindel. Frank Schwindel's hitting 205. What a joke. Patrick Wisdom. 247. Nick Madrigal, which I'm very shocked about, 235. This is not how you win baseball games. And when you're starting pitching, just can't prevent a run from scoring, you're never going to win. The only productive starting pitcher as of right now is Drew Smyly. Justin Steele even sucks. Even Justin Steele is having issues. Steele, Hendricks, Stroman, the Cubs' big three entering the season, whom everybody touted and proclaimed, all of ERAs above 5. And then their offense, 30-year-old Patrick Wisdom, 30-year-old Frank Schwindel can't hit a lick. We all saw this coming, though. If you're a realist and not a fan sipping the Kool-Aid, you saw this coming a mile away. You cannot, if you're a baseball savant, expect big production out of Patrick Wisdom, Frank Schwindel, and this ragtag crew. That's what this is. Hey, Judd Hoyer, next time, be honest. Just say the truth. Say it's a rebuild. Don't lie to your fans. I knew it was a rebuild. But don't say we're retooling on the fly, we're getting better. This is not better. I don't know what the hell this is. It's a scam. You scammed your fans. And the sad part is, a lot of them believed you. A lot of them believed you. Oh, we're retooling. It's going to be okay. We're going to be somewhat competitive next year. You guys suck. Hate to break it to you. You suck. Why am I watching two 30-year-old sophomores being the best hitters in your lineup? They're hitting 220. Why am I watching a big free agent signing put up a 5 ERA? Young pitchers putting up 5 ERAs. The bullpen having issues. There is not one functioning piece on this Cubs team today. Not one. And all the guys who you touted from last year are not performing. I get it. It's early. I don't want to overreact, but this is the truth here. Look at the numbers. You got guys who you convinced us to believe in who cannot even hit a lick. Even Wilson Contreras, whom everybody wants to tout, hitting 236. This is not acceptable. And you need to understand that. Don't be telling people it's a retool on the fly when this is 2013, 2014 Cubs baseball. That's exactly what it is. Look, in 2013, 2014, everybody knew rebuild. There was no retooling. There was no expectations or competition. It was 100 losses guaranteed. And this team right now, if they play like this, 100 losses guaranteed. See, it's not as harsh. They're not the Reds. They're not 3-21, the Cubs. I mean, they're playing 9-15, 9-16 baseball, but still, they deserve criticism for the way they've handled this entire situation. Be honest. Not that hard. I'm all about honesty. I'd rather the Cubs be honest and say, you know what? We are not going to be good next year. All these signings we're making are just to fill roster spots. None of them may work out. We are not rebuilding on the fly. This is a problem. This is a real rebuild. Not on the fly, not, after a year. Just be honest. Tell the people the truth. Instead, you strung everybody along all offseason. Hey, we signed Marcus Stroman. Hey, we made a couple of moves here and there. Hey, we might be good. Hey, we believe in Frank Schwindel and Patrick Wisdom. What kind of a statement is that? Come on. Don't feed us the Kool-Aid about 30-year-old sophomores who for some reason have not cracked the major leagues till, last year, after the big trades. That's a red flag, by the way. But y'all should have seen that one. If you're 29 years old, you haven't played Major League Baseball, and now you get your chance with the Cubs after trading away Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo, problem. Got to remember that. I just hate the dishonesty. And I was all for the real rebuild. But this product that they put on the field is pretty pathetic. Even if this was a rebuild. When the Cubs rebuilt in 2011, 2012, there was still some fire with that team. There were guys who actually legitimately performed, put up good numbers. Nobody on this team has put up anything of significance. Nobody, with the exception of Drew Smyly. Some of the bullpen pieces, Robertson, still 0 ERA, but not really. There have not been a lot of guys on this team who've done anything of significance. Even Seiya Suzuki is now hitting .250. And by the way, expect that to continue to go down. Ian Happ's already at .292. He was at .333 a week ago. Everybody's going to regress to their average. This is going to be a team with no 300 hitter and with no pitcher with an ERA under 3 in the starting rotation. Not one. I know this sounds extreme, but I would demote some people if you could, just as punishment. Do it. And demote Kyle Hendricks. Have him work on his stuff in AAA. You need to set an example here. These performances cannot be accepted. Marcus Stroman, this cannot be accepted. This cannot be tolerated and said, oh, it's okay, we're fine. No. This is not fine. This is a joke. You know, it's so funny. They lied to the fans on purpose to still sell tickets. Now this team sucks. No one's selling tickets. That's the funny part. They said, oh, it's going to be a retool. We'll be competitive next year. Now they're being exposed, and no one's going to the games. Nobody cares. Hey, I'm not going to show up to a Cubs game to watch Frank Schwindel, Patrick Wisdom, and Drew Smyly or Justin Steele pitch. My goodness. Come on. Even if they were doing good, I'd have my reservations. Let alone now. They're sucking. Horrible. I just couldn't be more disappointed. And I wish more people were too. A lot of people are, though. A lot of Cubs fans are very disenfranchised with this team now. And I don't blame them at all. You know what the worst part is? Not enough criticism and not enough spotlighting this situation. Nobody is holding this team accountable, and they should be. My goodness. You promised everybody we are going to be competitive. We are rebuilding on the fly. We're going to be fine. Next year, we might actually play competitive baseball. No, this is not competitive. It's not even baseball. I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm watching. Couldn't tell you what I'm watching. I'm watching beer league softball. Bunch of 30-year-old overweight guys who are past their prime. That's the main one, past their prime. And I loved some of these signings on paper. Jonathan VR, great 5 years ago. 60 stolen bases in 1 year, not anymore. And Andrelton Simmons hasn't even stepped foot on the field yet, still hurt. Nick Madrigal, 300 hitter, well, now, not so much. Marcus Stroman, came up a great year, bad record, but good ERA, 5 ERA now. This signing kind of reminded me of Edwin Jackson. And if he doesn't get his act together, it will be Edwin Jackson. And what about Jason Hayward, by the way? That is, by far, the worst signing in Cubs history. I'll say it. It's the worst signing in Cubs history. You know what, Alfonso Soriano, maybe it was a long signing, big money, big deal, still performed. Even at the end of his contract, hit 34 home runs the year he was traded. 17 with the Cubs, 17 in New York. He was still performing. The amount of money and the amount of years they gave Jason Hayward, this is one of the worst contracts in Cubs history. Maybe not the worst trade, because this wasn't a trade, but the worst contract. The worst amount of money spent, the worst amount of money allocated in Cubs history belongs to Jason Hayward. $180+ million to do what? Some speech in 2016? He has not done anything. If you recall and remember, the reason why the Cubs signed him is because he hit .292 with 11 home runs and served as the leadoff man for the Cardinals the year before. They brought him in for that reason. To hit, not just for defense. Look, I'm not going to pay somebody $25, $30 million per year to play Gold Glove defense. Not going to do it. Not important enough. Not important enough. If you're a liability in the lineup, you will not play. I'm not paying that much money for good defense. That's a waste of money. Even Nico Horner, touted prospect, is hitting .272. I don't know what to say about this team. I'm greatly disappointed, but even more disappointed in ownership and management. And I applauded their decision-making last year because it was right. It was the time to do it. And if you look at all them and all the guys who were traded, Bryant is horrible. He has no home runs. He's playing in Colorado. That's a big problem, big red flag. How are you not hitting at least one home run and you play in Colorado? Rizzo's doing well for now, but I know that streak and that hot start's going to come crashing down. And Baez is fine, but he was hurt. At the end of the day, it was not worth the Cubs paying or shelling out close to $500 million for those three players. I applauded the move. I liked it. We're moving on. That's fine. But from there, they handled this horribly. They lied to fans. They were dishonest. They promised things they couldn't promise. And now we sit here today and we're watching AAA baseball. We're clamoring over 30-year-old sophomores who can't hit. We're watching big free agent signings stink it up on the mound or at the plate. And we're watching some fans still drink the Kool-Aid. We're watching some of them justify these moves. These are not justified. These are not acceptable. They're not okay. I know a lot of you watch me for my Bears content. This applies as well to the Cubs. Hold your teams accountable. Question. Publicly question. Rant, roast, whatever you have to do. This is not acceptable. Really think about the legendary status of the Cubs organization. And they're much more legendary than the Bears. They've been around since the 1870s. Think about how many championships they've won. Total. How great they've been. One of the first teams in Major League history to reach 10,000 wins as a franchise. Look at them today. This is a shell of who the Cubs should be. They're a legacy franchise. And no, we're watching Frank Schwindel, Patrick Wisdom, and Jason Hayward suit up daily. Mind-boggling. And the worst part is they promised good stuff. They promised good things. I'm not going to blame this all on the players. This is management too. Look at the moves they made this offseason. Oh, but hey, they spent money on Marcus Stroman. Who cares? That was a stupid waste of money. And I'm not saying they should have signed Carlos Correa. They should have spent a lot of money. You have to do this the right way. If you're going to say rebuild, commit to it. Get rid of these big salaries and tell everybody we need a couple of years and be honest. But instead, there was some rebuilding, some not, some retooling on the fly, some not. They were right down the middle. They were never honest with anybody. And now look at the end result. It's a bunch of BS. I don't know what we're watching. They claim they're going to be competitive, yet this is clearly a rebuild, yet they made big signings this offseason to an extent, paying out a lot of money for guys who aren't performing on top of it. I don't know what this is. I don't know what we're watching. No idea what we're watching. I do know this, though. This is mediocre and this is crap, and Cubs fans shouldn't put up with it. That I do know. It's up to you to get the word out and spread it. Think about how historic this Cubs franchise is, and then what they're putting on the field for you. That's an insult to you. They lied to you. They patronized you. Yes, they did. And this is the thanks you're going to get. Come on. I'm just so fired up about this because I'm sick of the lying from them. Look, some Cubs fans were even pissed last year about all these trades for Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo. Now you see this, you must be even more pissed. At least at that point I understood it. But this I don't get. I really don't get this at all. Everybody's good friend Theo Epstein left this team in ruins. Now Jed Hoyer's trying to pick up the pieces. He's handcuffed by Tom Ricketts. And yet Hoyer did spend money on the wrong people. Seiya Suzuki, Marcus Stroman, not sure how that's going to work out. Seriously, not working out too well now, either. Suzuki, yes, but he's been slumping, and Stroman, not at all. Never. I don't know. You got to hope for something better to come along for this team, but right now, I'm not buying anything. This is a train wreck. And for the sake of Cubs fans, I hope it gets improved. You deserve better than this. What a joke. What a scam. And all I can say at this point is brace yourselves. It's only going to get worse from here. Thanks for watching today's show here on BPOD TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Really appreciate the time. Remember, you can follow me Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. You can watch more of my show. Search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube. Go to sportstalkchicago.com and tune in right here every night at 10:30 on BPOD TV. So long, everyone.